What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2001 film Exit Wounds. So I've been getting a little bit more into Steven Seagal lately. I've been checking out quite a few of his movies, and overall I'm a fan of quite a few of Steven Seagal's movies. So Exit Wounds popped up on Tubi. I was like, oh shoot, DMX is in this, Anthony Anderson's in this. There was like a bunch of other notable cast members. You had Tom Arnold was in it, but like you had a bunch of people. So I was like, this has a decent cast. I looked up the reviews and they weren't absolutely terrible. I mean, for the most part, Steven Seagal movies and action movies get bad reviews, but the reviews on this weren't absolutely the worst. So I'm like, let me check this out. And it's set in Detroit, and I live in a suburb of Detroit, so anytime anything's set in Detroit, I'm all over it. I gotta check it out. So yeah, this was a first time watch for me, and overall I was a pretty big fan. I thought it was just a solid action movie. So yeah, there you go. So jumping into the plot summary, the movie follows this detective played by Steven Seagal, and initially he's saving the vice president, but he, like, by doing so, he's disobeying orders, so he gets demoted to this other precinct, and while he's there, he's investigating this mysterious drug lord named Latrell, and he's played by DMX, and they can't really find much info on him, so he's investigating him, and then the script just totally flips, and Steven Seagal's character realizes that the precinct he's at, all these cops, they're dirty cops, they're corrupt, so he teams up with Latrell to stop these dirty cops. So that's the little plot summary for you all. First thing that I want to touch on is, this is just something that I thought was kind of funny. Steven Seagal's character in this is so similar to characters he's played in other movies. I feel like in so many movies he just plays the exact same character. This was so similar to his character in Above the Law, super similar to his character in Glimmerman. He's always playing this rogue cop who disobeys orders and just can't mind his own business. He's like Batman or something. Where's crime? He's like Spider-Man. He's got his spider sense tingling. He's just always seeing crime everywhere. He's just meddling. He's like one of these. He's like the Scooby-Doo characters. He's like a meddling kid, but he's a grown-ass man. I just think it's funny. He always plays the same character. He's this cop who just goes out of his jurisdiction, always, can't mind his own business and gets into trouble. So, yeah, homeboy got typecasted for show. But I mean, that's the thing. Like with Steven Seagal, I'm not trying to hate on him, but he doesn't really have range like that. He can. There's like a couple characters he can play, but like it's not like you would see him out here in a comedy or in a drama. Like he's going to be special forces, or he's going to be a cop, and of course he's not going to mind his own business. He's got to get into trouble. That's just his style. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. Jumping along here, the action I thought was really great. It was a little bit over the top, and a lot of it wasn't super realistic, but it was fun, and yeah, all the action scenes were really well done. The whole sequence where Steven Seagal is saving the vice president is phenomenal. They're on this bridge, and there's like all these people. They're dressed as cops and they're trying to kill the president. And Steven Seagal takes down a helicopter with a pistol. And initially I was like, oh, that's a little bit silly, but the way he shot it, it looks like he shot it like straight in the middle, like he knew where the engine was. So it was calculated. But he's taking out helicopters with a pistol. He's taking down, 10 guys at a time. And there was this there was this sequence where it was clearly a stunt double. He has to jump over this railing. Steven Seagal can't jump over a railing, so it just cuts to a obvious stunt double jumping over the railing. So I thought that was funny. And DMX he was really good too. So of course Steven Seagal, he has the martial arts background. He's out here, doing his typical shtick. But DMX really surprised me. He was out here. He pretty much had the martial arts moves. Whenever DMX's character was engaged in hand-to-hand combat, he was just laying fools out. So yeah, I really liked all the action. Even though it was a little over the top, I still thought it was really fun and super engaging. So yeah, it's an action movie. You got to talk about the action. I think all the fight scenes, all the shootouts, they were phenomenal. So I talked about this movie being set in Detroit, and like I said, I live in a suburb of Detroit, so Detroit is it's like a 2-minute drive from where I live, and I went to college in downtown Detroit. I know what downtown Detroit looks like. This movie, even though it was set in Detroit, it did not look or feel like Detroit at all. It was set in Detroit, but it was filmed in Canada. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but I kept forgetting. Like if they would mention Detroit, I'm like, oh yeah, this movie is set in Detroit, but I don't know. It did not look like Detroit at all to me. It looked more, I didn't even know it was filmed in Canada. It looked more like New York. It didn't. I don't know if people have been to Detroit or live in the Detroit area, you know what Detroit looks like. This movie does not look or feel like Detroit, so that was kind of a bummer for me, because whenever I hear that movies are set in Detroit, I'm very excited, because that's kind of my neck of the woods, and I was a little bit bummed that it really didn't feel like Detroit, so that was kind of a bummer. I don't know, but it was still cool that it was set in Detroit. I feel like not as many, so many movies are, set in LA or New York. Not as many movies are set in Detroit. So whenever a movie is set in Detroit, I'm always here for it. So even though it didn't really have the look, I still thought it was cool. And then the last main thing that I want to talk about is the comedy. I thought this movie did have a lot of great comedy sprinkled in. There's this whole thing where Steven Seagal's character gets sent to this anger management class, and like he has to share, and they're in these little school desks, and he stands up from the school desk. He just breaks the desk accidentally, because he's huge. He's a big dude, and he keeps saying, he's like, this is my happy face. He's just straight faced. He's like, this is my happy face. I'm a happy guy. I don't have an anger problem. I'm good. I'm a real happy guy. And I thought that was really funny. Steven Seagal did have some funny lines, and I really liked his delivery, because it's that deadpan delivery. He's one of those guys where in real life you can tell he takes himself way too seriously. So it's kind of funny, the whole juxtaposition of him delivering a funny line, but he delivers it so straight. It's so matter of fact. So I thought all of his comedic lines were really funny. And yeah, Tom Arnold was in this. He played this radio host with anger management problems, and when he was in the anger management class, he was really hyper, and he was so eager to share, and uh, he actually becomes, you know, a prominent side character in the movie. I thought everything with Tom Arnold was funny. He's kind of like a fanboy to Steven Seagal, and he's just totally obsessed with him and wants to be his right hand man and his buddy. So yeah, he was great. I really liked Anthony Anderson too. He was funny. He was basically DMX's right hand man, DMX's character's right hand man, and yeah, he was like a great comic relief as well. There's this standout scene where DMX's character and Anthony Anderson's character are going to this luxury car dealership to buy a Lamborghini, and you know, they just come in with their regular street clothes. It's a real high-end establishment. They're kind of just acting real casual. Anthony Anderson's character is bumping music in the car. They're touching all the cars, sitting in the cars, and this one guy who works there, he's a total tight ass. He's just getting so angry, so pissed off, and they're just chill, having a good time, pissing him off, and I don't know. I really liked that whole sequence. I thought that was extremely hilarious, and it was funny. The guy, the tight ass guy, was code switching at the end. He was trying to be cool with them, and be like, "Yo, I got you, my brother," and it's like, but he was just like a nerd. But he was trying to save face and save the sale and be cool at the end. But it was not working out. So I really liked that whole sequence. And man, the Lamborghini that DMX's character bought, it was so sick, and it was a baller move. He just like came through with a duffel bag full with 300,000. He's like, here you go, you know, have that guy keep the commission. I'm out, and he's just whipping off in the Lambo. So yeah, that was like the dopest Lambo. So yeah, that was the last point that I wanted to touch on. So overall, I thought this was a solid movie. You gotta with this movie, you gotta know what you're getting into. Like I said, the reviews were good for an action movie. You know, a lot of action movies in general, a lot of Steven Seagal movies don't get great reviews, but you gotta know what you're getting into. If you're just looking for a fun, over the top action movie, I think this is it's a great movie. You know, it's not a great movie, but it's a great movie. You know, you know, the story's not the best story ever, but I mean, do you really go into an action movie for the most compelling story? No, like you want some over the top action sequences, you want some badass stuff. And even though the story wasn't the best thing ever, I feel like it was serviceable. There was a lot of twists and turns later on where you do kind of get some twist fatigue. You're like, okay, another twist, another guy's a dirty cop. Okay, you know, we get it. So, you know, even though the story's not the best thing ever, it's serviceable. It's a fun action movie. You can kind of just turn your brain off, look at some cool stuff, really get into it, have a good time. So, yeah, overall, I don't know. I think this was a very solid movie. So I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, that's been my review. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.